What up, YouTube, friends on Google+. Welcome back to Strategic Social Networking. I'm Daniel, and the topic of today's video is AdSense. Okay, for starters, can you still make a living with AdSense? Well, the short answer is yes. However, there are a few modern-day implications that content creators need to be aware of if they plan to monetize with the AdSense platform today, okay? And we're going to discuss a lot of those modern day implications in this video. For starters, one of those implications is the huge migration we have seen from a web that was once dominated by organic search engines just a few years ago to one that is now becoming heavily dominated by social media and mobile apps. People are spending more time than ever on their phones, on their tablets. People are spending more time than ever on social media. You have Pinterest, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Google+, Twitter. You've got all these different social platforms, okay? And for the most part, it's killing a lot of blogs. And that's because many of the bloggers have failed to adapt and change to these ever-increasing shifts from this once dominant organic spaces of the web to one is now dominated by social media. Okay. Another thing we've seen in recent years is a huge drop in the volume of traffic for millions of search queries. Okay. The problem is, because people are spending more time on social media, they're more likely to use the integrated search engines. Okay. People are going to use the integrated search on Twitter, on Google+, on Facebook, all right, on YouTube, before they're going to jump back to Google's organic search engine to search for answers to their problems. And because bloggers failed to adapt to this change, a lot of the ones that used to make a living from AdSense have stated that they're not making a living anymore. They're not getting by. Their blogs are failing. Well, what do we do? What do we do? How do we move into the modern digital web and produce content, promote it in a way that we can still earn a living from our hard work? Well, you're not going to make a living with a single blog anymore. Those days are over. It's not going to happen. Okay. 8 or 10 years ago, yeah, you could probably make $45,000 a year with a blog. You're not going to do that now. Today, if you had 3 to 5 blogs, now you have a fighting chance to make a decent supplementary income, but you're really not going to make a solid living off of that. And here's why. Okay. Today, people typically share the stuff they read out into social media, and some people will put long descriptions about the content and what they think about it. And when people go to engage with that content, sure, it helps your rank, it helps to increase your visibility, but at the same time, a lot of people don't feel compelled to click through that article and to read the whole thing. All right, so this kills a lot of traffic for a lot of publishers and a lot of hardworking bloggers. All right, so you're going to have less traffic the more the people, you would think the more the people share your stuff, the more traffic you would have, but that is not always the case. In some cases, you actually have less traffic as a result of social media. All right, so what you really need to be placing your bets on today isn't just your blog, it's your social presence, it's your audience on social media, and what social platforms you're on. Now, back in 2012, when I first jumped on Google+, my media organization, we placed our bets on social media, and we did it reluctantly, we did it hesitantly like many other content creators. Because, back then there was all those stories, social media is just a fad, it's going to die. No, it's not. Yes, Google Plus has slowed down. Twitter has slowed down in recent times too, but there is still, people are still spending more time than ever on social platforms. And if you're not there, then you're not going to monetize, okay? Your blog isn't going to cut anymore. A single blog isn't going to do it. So what do we do? Where do we focus? Well, we have to find a way to monetize on these audiences that are spending more time than ever on social media. Okay, a lot of platforms, don't really have a direct way for content creators to monetize. Let's face it, Facebook is going to make you pay. All right, you go and you post content there. There's not really a whole lot of ways for content creators to monetize on their content. They usually end up being the ones that have to pay Facebook to get the visibility that they want. Then you have Twitter. Twitter's pretty much the same thing. People use Twitter to draw traffic back to their blogs, but there isn't a whole lot of ways for content creators to monetize in the platform directly. And the same goes for Google+. There are no ways to monetize in that platform, natively. Then we have platforms like YouTube, where Google opened the doors back in 2011 for people to integrate AdSense with their channels and produce revenue off of their content that they produce on the platform. And this is where I strongly encourage content creators to focus today, is on the YouTube platform, and to integrate with their blogs so that they can draw traffic back from YouTube back to their website, and also integrate back to YouTube, have links on your site back to YouTube so you can draw your audience there to your video content. Okay, now in recent years we have seen huge drops in the volume of organic search queries. Okay, they've just been tremendous for millions of search queries because, like I said, people are spending less time on those organic search engines. They're spending more time on mobile apps, or spending more time in the social web, and we have to find a way to monetize on those audiences. YouTube is the way to go, okay? Because like I said, even though you can't monetize, directly natively on platforms like Facebook, Google+, and Twitter, you can share your video content there, and you can run ads in that video content from YouTube, and you can make money off that content. And it also helps to drive your rank on the YouTube platform, and those videos can also help to drive rank on your website if you've integrated your channels properly with your sites. Okay, now for another modern day implication that is causing bloggers a lot of trouble and is causing them to go broke and to just call it quits and throw in the towel, and that is the explosive growth of ad blockers. Okay, they are growing at an alarming rate, and it's because of all the deceptive publishers on the web that load their sites with auto-playing video ads galore. They've got scripts that lock up people's browsers, and it's just too many ads, and it slows down the web experience. It eats up a lot of bandwidth to have all these ads running in the background, and because of that, on average, most blogs are going to see an ad blocking rate of around 30 to 40%. Some in the technology arena, like us, we have weeks that we hit upwards of 60% of our audience is blocking our ads on our websites from a media organization. That is a huge cause for concern. It's ad blockers are growing at an alarming rate. So how do we combat this? Well, you also have another implication. That is, we need to talk about first, which is the economy. The global economy is crap, okay? A lot of major companies are tightening their budgets. They're tightening their belts on their marketing practices. They're not willing to spend. They're still willing to spend on marketing, but they're not willing to spend as much. Okay, they're not willing to spend a bunch of money to market a product or service when the ROIs aren't as good as they used to be. Okay, so you have the shift to mobile, you have the growth of ad blockers. Okay, so these are all things collectively that are killing bloggers right now. Okay, you're not going to make a living off a single blog anymore. You're going to need multiple blogs, like 3 to 5 of them today, to make even a supplementary income. 300,000 or 400,000 hits a month. You're not going to make a living with that anymore. You might make like $300 or $400. You might, if you're really lucky, break $120 for 100,000 impressions. Some blogs only do $50 or $60 for 100,000 RPM. Others do about 150, 180. So it just depends. Another thing to consider here is that when it comes to AdSense, a lot of marketers and a lot of big companies, companies large and small, aren't willing to pay right now for cost per measure ads like they're used to. Okay. And, I can tell you from experience over the last few years, I have seen cost per measure ads almost just get wiped off the face of the publishing web. When it comes to blogs, we're not getting served that many cost per measure ads anymore. Okay, they're mostly cost per click. And that's another thing we need to get into. Cost per click ads are no longer cost per click, despite what the media states and what Google tells you. They're actually cost per conversion. We'll get into that in just a minute. First, but for right now, we're looking at what the negative implications are that can really hurt your efforts to monetize with the Adsense platform. One is you need to get on social media. If you didn't place your bets on social media, you're going to lose, okay? Back in 2012, we hesitantly and reluctantly placed our bets on social media and started to grow brands on platforms like Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, etc. And despite the fact, like I said, these platforms don't give you a way to monetize directly, you do have other ways you can monetize on this platform, such as with YouTube. You can create channels, produce videos. You can draw traffic back to your groups on Facebook, communities on Google+, your brand pages, your profiles on social media, etc. You can make money off the advertising in the videos from these platforms, okay? Like I said, a single, blog is not going to cut it. The problem today is when people share content from your website back out into Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever, a lot of times they'll throw in long descriptions. And, they explain the article in detail along with, their thoughts and feelings about the content that they just ingested. And when other people see that, they may get involved in the conversation. But a lot of times they'll have enough information that, in the post and what's being discussed, they don't feel compelled to click through to read the entire article. And, the thought used to be, the more content you get shared on social media, the more traffic you'll get back to your blog. Well, that is not always the case. Okay, and then if you add in to add insult to injury, the explosive growth of ad blockers, now you've got a recipe for disaster. Okay, if 40 to 60% of your audience is blocking your ads, and the ad revenues are not what they used to be 5 or 10 years ago, you got a problem. A lot of publishers are only doing about $1, to $1.50 for 1,000 impressions right now. And the traffic is shifting away from blogs to interactive elements of social media, video. All right, so if you're not doing video and you're not on YouTube, you're going to have problems. Okay, I don't think that blogging is dead. I think you can still make money from blogging. I think you're going to need several blogs, and I think you should team up. I think it should be a group effort. I don't put all your eggs in one basket. No, one blog is not going to cut it. Even 500,000-600,000 hits a month is just not, even 1 million hits a month, you're not going to make a living. Not with a blog. And the ad revenues, they vary wildly. It depends on keywords. Generally, the AdWords, the platform for marketers is, it's generally, it's an auction. Okay. It's an ad auction marketplace. Okay. And, people are generally bidding on keywords and they're bidding on an audience, okay? And then you have the platform for publishers, which is Adsense. All right, well, you're not going to, like I said, the marketers don't want to send cost per measure. They don't want to spend money on cost per measure ads. They want to do cost per click, and I'll tell you why. Because cost per click ads today are no longer cost per click. They are cost per conversion, okay? The more likely that your ad is to convert to the intended action of the advertiser, the more likely you as a publisher are to get paid to click on that ad. Google no longer pays for people clicking on an ad. Nope, clicks don't matter anymore. And that goes for blogs, that goes for YouTube, for any of the platforms that Google serves their ads, okay? It is not cost per click anymore. It is either cost per measure, where marketers are bidding a certain set amount of money for 1,000 impressions, and that is dictated by the competition in the marketplace, of course. And then you have cost per click ads, which, like I said, are actually cost per conversion. So the more likely that somebody's click is to convert to that intended action of the advertiser. That could be to download a PDF. That could be to sign up for an email newsletter. 95% of the time is to purchase a product or service. So if the ad converts, the publisher, you get paid, okay? And the same goes for cost per click ads on YouTube platform as well. It's not just in publisher sites. Now, what makes YouTube so much better than running Adsense in a standard blog is the fact that marketers really feel, in companies large and small, really feel compelled to invest in cost per measure ads on the YouTube platform. They're really willing to spend there. It's cheap. It's cheap to advertise there. There's an enormous amount of traffic. You have over 1.3 billion visitors a month to the YouTube platform. It's now bigger than the cable TV in the United States, which has actually lost almost 1 million subscribers in the last year. And you've got upwards of hundreds of billions of hits on the YouTube platform every single month. So there's plenty of traffic there for anybody that has a purpose on the web and wants to start a channel, wants to produce traffic, produce revenue. You can really build an audience there. And a lot of people say, oh, Google Plus, platforms like Google Plus, it's not worth it. Pinterest is not worth it. There's no real way to monetize directly on. Yes, there is. You can share the content from your blog there, right? You can still draw some traffic back to your blog. You can still share your videos there, and you can monetize directly on Google Plus. So yes. Yeah, you can't run ads in your brand page. You can't run ads in your Google Plus community, but you can in your videos, and you can capitalize off of that. You can make money. Okay, so we've gone through all the negative implications. Ad blockers, the shift to mobile devices and a socially propelled, mobile world, the explosive growth of social media, the decline of organic search engines. And there's other factors too. Part of the reason we have seen slowdowns on platforms like Google Plus and Twitter actually has to do with social gaming has exploded. It's upwards around the billion mark right now. Okay, if you look at platforms like Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, the Wii U, and other online gaming, the other smaller online gaming platforms collectively, they're at the 250 million mark. People on these platforms are more engaged than any standard social platform on the internet today. People can spend hours on Xbox Live or PSN in a single day. They may only spend 20 or 30 minutes on Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, or Pinterest. Okay, so how do you tap into these audiences? Well, here's the thing. They're gamers, okay? Now, we didn't even talk about Steam, all right? Everybody says, oh, desktop is dying. It's all mobile now. Well, that's wrong, and I'll tell you why. The Steam platform, is the largest online gaming platform in the world. It has the largest user base. I think it's upwards of around 130 million users, and guess what? These gamers, they are all desktop users. Yes, they are playing games on Linux, on PC, on Linux and Windows. Yes, and Mac. Okay, so you can't tell me that desktops are dying. In fact, right now, PC gaming is exploding on the web. It is literally exploding. There are more people playing PC games than ever before, and it's only going to continue to expand. All right, so like I said, you have mobile games. And that's why social media is slowing down. People are spending more time with social gaming platforms. Okay, they're spending more time. Look at Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go has a larger user base right now than the entire Twitter platform. People are playing games, and they love games that have features, socially interactive features, where they can connect with others, with their friends online, and with the public, and play games collectively. Okay, so you know you're well over the billion mark, really. If you include Steam, there are over a billion social gamers right now, and in fact, social gaming has now eclipsed Hollywood. It is the #1 form of entertainment worldwide. Yep, it beats Hollywood hands down 100 to 1. Okay, and a lot of Hollywood actors are actually turning to starring in video games to pick up for the shortfalls. All right, and that was really clever of Hollywood to do that. But anyways, the point of this video is AdSense, and that's what we're getting to, is how can you monetize with AdSense? How can you make it work for you? You get on YouTube, create a channel, integrate your blog with it. Yes, you can still make money off your blog. It's not going to be what it used to be, and that's because of the economic implications. Yes, people are spending more time on social media. They may not always feel compelled to click through that link. They may just read the post on social media. They may not feel compelled to click through to your website and read the entire article. Okay, people are more engaged with video. That's another thing. You know, the average person reads, I think it's like 30%, 30 to 35% of an article. Okay, I've been pretty lucky. I actually score somewhere around 60, 70% readability for most of the stuff I write. Even then, that's not that great. But with a video that gets right to the point and you stay on topic, you can get closer to 80, 90, 100% viewability. Especially if it's a video that's under the 15-minute mark and you don't have all kinds of dry, broken areas in the video, so forth. So there is money to be made with YouTube. You know, that's a platform I really do recommend because there's humongous audiences there. Yeah, the ads are cheap. They don't pay well. You're going to need to get a few million hits a month. If you can break the 2 million hits a month mark on YouTube, man, you can really drive revenue. You can make a living. And if you integrate it with your blog, now you're playing with fire. Now you can make some killer money with the YouTube platform being integrated with your website and integrated with your social profiles, etc. Like I said, we placed our bets in social media back several years ago, and it's starting to pay off. I have communities on Google Plus, strategic social networking. We've got over 120 whatever thousand members. This video is going to get posted out there. So yeah, you know, here with a platform where there's no native way to no way to advertise natively, to run advertisements, here we can make money off of our videos and, you know, sharing our ideas with our audiences there. Another thing you have to consider too, if you're not really familiar with AdSense, you've never used it before. I've had an AdSense account now, I think, for like 8 years. It's been a long time. You know, the game has changed completely over time. You have generally, you know, you have AdSense for content ads. Those are the banner ads. Then you have link units, which are just tiny little text links. They are text ads. I generally recommend, you know, my articles are pretty long. They're usually 1,200 to 2,000 plus words per article, and I implement usually 3 AdSense for content, 3 banner ads, and 3 link units per page. Now, keep in mind, the more ads that you dump onto your page, the slower your site's going to load, and site speed is a ranking factor today with Google and with Bing and other search engines. Don't overload your website with ads. In fact, the less ads you can put, the better. I don't always include 6 ads per page. Sometimes I include 4, maybe 3, sometimes it's 5. It just depends on how much content there is. For an article that's about 2,000 to 3,000 plus words, I'll usually include around 6. And you also have to test and see how your site loads. You know, what is the functionality of your site once you've implemented those ads? Always use asynchronous scripts. You do have that option in AdSense. Another thing to consider is what the rules of the AdSense platform are. For one, there's a few rules that if you do not follow them right from the get-go, you will not get approved the AdSense platform if they review your site. And it can be really hard to get approval if you don't implement these practices head on from the very beginning. And Two things that you have to have, you should have, and you really need to have before you ever apply for AdSense, okay? And that is, you need to have a privacy policy in place that explains to your visitors, your policy for the use of third-party cookies and any data that you collect from your users. And you need to give users the ability to opt out of any ads on your site, as well as any third-party cookies, anything like that. And you can do that. You can give people the ability to opt out by putting a link in your privacy policy to the Network Initiative advertising opt-out page. Okay, and I talk more about that in the article below. I made a link to the article below, another article about AdSense that better explains how to implement a privacy policy for your website. You want to have a unique page for that, and you should have a link on every page of your site back to your privacy policy. Okay, otherwise you're not going to get approved. You're not going to get approved. And there's one more thing that you need to have that's really, really important, and that's that you need to notify users of your use of cookies besides your privacy policy. Okay, you have to, and the reason that Google did this is to comply with the new EU laws regarding disclosure of any data that you retain from users and your use of cookies on your website. Okay, and here we go. In order to comply with AdSense terms of service, you will need to notify users that your site uses cookies as they enter the site and from any page. Here's how I do it. I use a pop-up. You will never get penalized for this. Google has already explained anything that is used to, like things like, remind users or notify users of your use, what your privacy policy is, your use of cookies, etc. You won't get penalized for this. I use a pop-up, and I use the platform Cookie Consent. You can look that up in Google search. It's called Cookie Consent. And I use this. It creates a small pop-up in the right-hand corner of the screen, and it states, this website uses cookies to ensure you get the best experience on our website. Click here for more. And then there's a link from this pop-up back to our privacy policy on the site that better informs users of our use of cookies and how they can opt out of advertisements, etc., and any data that's collected and so forth. You have to have that. And like I said, Google implemented these rules into AdSense. It's required in order to comply with European Union's legal requirement to notify users, and Google demands that you do so. If you don't, you're going to get denied. Here's another thing you need to take into consideration before you apply for AdSense. Okay? And that is that it's getting tougher to get approval now. Google doesn't want to give approval to unestablished entities on the web. If you're applying for Google AdSense and you've got a blog with like 10 or 15 posts, or you have a YouTube channel that's only got 5 or 10 videos and you don't have traffic, they're probably going to turn you down. Back in the day, they would just, when I first applied years and years ago, they would just approve anybody. They didn't care. If you were living and breathing, you could just get AdSense approval. I got grandfathered in, okay? But today it's a lot tougher. I strongly recommend that you have an established blog, you have an established presence in social media, you have some form of traffic. The same thing for YouTube. You're going to have a YouTube channel. You have an established subscriber base there with, like, I would say, have at least a few hundred subscribers, and you're getting several thousand hits a month at a bare minimum. Same thing to your website. Otherwise, they're going to turn you down. Google will turn you down, and it sucks. And then after that, it's really, really hard to get approval later on. If they turn you down the first time, it's like 10 times more, more likely that you're not going to get approved in the future. So have an established blog. I recommend having at least a couple hundred articles. Yeah, I would aim for like the 150 to 200 article mark, blog posts in place, and be well established. The idea is this: you have to crawl before you can walk. Okay, you need to have content. You need to have an audience, and if you don't, Google's not going to feel compelled. Now, here's the thing: Google doesn't typically, despite a lot of rumors, Google does not typically manually review every single applicant. That's not what they do. It looks that way. They don't. They have their AdSense bots, their crawlers, actually crawl your site, and they crawl and they look for evidence of whether or not your website complies with their terms of service, and whether or not your blog or your channel on YouTube is a good fit for the AdSense platform. Do you have traffic? Do you have an audience, etc.? Do you have content? Does your content have a purpose? This stuff matters. Okay, it really, really matters. And the other thing is, they do look at all your pages. If you do not have links to your privacy policy on every page, you're probably going to get denied, as I stated before. You need to notify users when they enter your site. Like I said, cookie consent. Go to cookieconsent.com. You can you enter in a link to your website, and then it gives you a script that you can integrate into WordPress or under static HTML site, etc., to notify users when they enter your site as to what your privacy policy is and your use of cookies, etc. You have to do this. If you don't have this stuff in place, their algorithms will catch it, and you will get turned down. You will lose. Okay. The other thing is, don't purchase traffic to your website. I know people feel compelled. They're like, man, I'm not ranking. I'm not getting traffic. It takes time. Okay, it's going to take you at least a year or longer to really even get the ball rolling on a brand new blog. All right, I don't recommend purchasing traffic. Now, in some cases you can. If you're going to buy traffic using AdWords, which is Google's own product, that's kind of an expensive route to go from personal experience. That's kind of an expensive way to go, but it's worth it because it really does reach targeted audiences that are relevant to your content and your purpose. Another really good platform that's relatively affordable in most cases is Facebook. I have run boosted posts on Facebook. The last boosted post I did, I think I spent $10, and on top of all the traffic that I got directly from Facebook, I got like 7,000 more people because I think it was like an additional 200 shares on the article from this one boosted post. It cost me $10. It was totally worth it. If you're willing to pay to play, Facebook's okay. Organically, you're not going to get any reach there. It doesn't matter how much you pay either. Brand pages are pretty well dead there. But if you're looking to get a momentary boost right now to your website to build traffic to help get the ball rolling and get your rank up and get your content out in front of a wider audience and get things like more do follow links and more people to talk about your product, your brand, your content, your ideas, who you are, and get your ideas out further in the world, Facebook is the way to go. Twitter's kind of expensive, I'll be honest. I haven't cared for advertising on Twitter. Their prices are way too high. Can you reach a huge audience there? Yes, but I'm not paying $2 per click. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. Others may be willing to, but from the perspective of being a publisher, it's the costs outweigh the benefits. Facebook is worth it for a short-term boost if that's what you're looking for. You can get it there. It can help you to rank. It can help to keep your relevance high on the web and get you the visibility that you need to grow your audience and grow your purpose. Okay. So definitely keep in mind, what the rules are. Like I said, the privacy policy, etc. You can check out the article that's in the description below. You'll need a link in your privacy policy to the Network Advertising Initiative opt-out page, or for any third-party applications that also collect any type of user data from your audience, you'll need to be able to supply a way for users to opt out of those cookies too. Most people don't care. They're not even going to look at it. They don't care, all right? But these are the rules, and the reason Google did this is, like I said, was to comply with the EU, with the European Union policy regarding data retention and so forth, and use of cookies and advertising, etc. So from the perspective of actually making money with AdSense, yes, you're going to need millions of hits a month. I do recommend. I don't think blogging is dead. Yeah, a lot of bloggers fail to adapt to change, and they're losing right now. They're totally losing. You got bloggers out there that used to make, $2,500, $3,000 a month off their blog, and they're now making $300 or $400 if they're really lucky. And that's the sorry state of the economy and the shift to social media and the fact that you can't monetize, like I said, in a lot of cases directly with social platforms itself. But there's still options like YouTube, etc. So definitely think about doing that. Another thing you can do too is develop your own products and services to sell to your audience directly, both from social media and from your website, from your own blog. You really should consider another thing you can do to really drive AdSense revenue is to get involved with, there are still, despite the organic reach for brand pages and for publishers is really hit rock bottom on Facebook, there's still a lot of groups that have a lot of have really high engagement levels. Google Plus has some communities that are just off the hook. Even though it's slowed down, a lot of communities are dead. Many ain't, including mine. Strategic social networking gets thousands. On an average day, we get thousands upon thousands of visitors a day. Yes. We have a reach right now on Google Plus. I think our reach for an average week is somewhere around, I don't know, about the million mark. About 750,000 to 1 million people a week. On a really slow week, it's probably like 150,000. On our best weeks, it's probably around 2 or 3 million, maybe 4 million a week. That is a lot of people that the content in our community reaches. And the same thing with our gaming community. There's only 13,000 members there, but a lot of the gaming publishers that post their content there, they can get visibility at 10 or 15,000 people for a single post in that one small community on Google+. So I would look at the communities and see how engaged they are. Some communities don't have strong engagement, others do. Most of ours perform very, very well. I get really good traffic from posting in strategic. My blogs, I typically get, even though Google Plus slowed down this year, I still typically get about 100 shares per article within the first 5 to 7 days after publishing, and I get like maybe 2,000 readers for a single blog post the first week or so. And getting 100 shares really helps to help drive visibility for content, and helps to get it to rank with Google search. So no, AdSense is not dead. It's still very much alive and well. There's plenty of money to be made with it. There's YouTubers making millions of dollars a year with AdSense, by the way. Cost per measure ads, those are pretty much out on blogs themselves. There's not as many. There are some months you will get more cost per measure ads, like December, late November. It really depends on the economical conditions. Like last year, 2015 was really bad. The economy hit rock bottom. People weren't spending money, and ads, there wasn't as much competition in the marketplace. So the cost per click, or should I say cost per conversion, and cost per measure really kind of went downhill for a lot of content creators. And YouTubers have been feeling the hurt from that too. A lot of YouTube channels aren't making what they once did, but there's still enough traffic there to make a living. I would say collectively, you really want to aim for the 2 to 3 million mark for hits collectively between your blog, your YouTube channels, and anything else that you monetize on the web. So there's still money to be made there. There's still money to be made with your blogs. If you're going to go the blogging route solely, team up, get a few people together to start writing articles. Definitely place your bets to social media. Social media is not a fad. I definitely had my doubts in it. And, we got kind of screwed because we built audiences on platforms that we could monetize on directly. Now, because of those audiences, now we can start building revenue because of our YouTube channels. So now Google Plus has started to pay off for us, and we're starting to see some real benefits to the hard work, the thousands of hours that we spent building communities and brands on this platform. So no, it's not dead. Google Plus is not dead. AdSense is not dead. You can still make a living from it. You got to follow the rules. Do not apply for AdSense without an established, if you're not an established entity. Like I said, if you got 20 articles, you're probably going to get denied. I don't recommend it. Once you get approved for AdSense, once you get whitelisted by Google, it's pretty much like me. I think I monetized like 5 channels. This is like the 5th channel that we monetized. We had 4 I monetized last month. My blog, I can just monetize anything. I don't have to get any approval. I don't have to have any approval at all. I can just monetize it. Google just lets me do it. Okay, so once you get grandfathered in, over time, once Google's algorithm, Google learns to, starts to see that you're a trusted entity and you're not cheating. Because a lot of people use bots to try to get fake clicks and stuff like that. Don't do that. Don't purchase traffic unless it's on a platform that's trusted like Facebook, Google's AdWords, etc. Don't purchase traffic from park domains. Google does not like this. That they will shut you down. You will not have AdSense anymore. Don't buy traffic from Fiverr. That's another thing. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I have personally investigated these claims from all these sellers, these merchants on Fiverr who claim to sell you real human visitors. They're not. They're bots. Okay, they're programs. And if you use your Google Analytics, you can see that all the visitors are coming from the same IP addresses, and they're spending 1 second on your site, which would actually kill your rank anyways, because once Google sees your engagement rates are crap, they're not going to send visitors there. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Build an audience. Don't go out and try to take the easy road and get yourself banned from AdSense. The other thing too is, like I said, clicks don't matter. What matters is what converts and cost per measure ads. What's so great about those cost per measure ads? They pay no matter what. They pay no matter what. These pre-roll video ads on YouTube, you get paid for that. The longer that people watch them, okay, in some of the video ads, Google will give them the option to click the ad off after 5 or 15 seconds. In other cases, they'll make them watch the whole 30 seconds of a video. But most of the time, they give users the ability to just click it off. But usually, you'll still get paid even if they click off after 5 seconds. If you can get them to the more that you can get them to watch, let's say the advertisement is 30 seconds. If you can get them to watch 20 or 25 seconds or the full 30 seconds of that pre-roll video ad, you're going to get paid the full bulk of what the bid was by the advertiser. You're going to get paid more. Okay, so these ads kind of pay no matter what. All right, there is a lot of good pre-roll ads that are on YouTube that are really engaging and that people will watch, and they do convert. The cost per click ads there, not so much, because they're the same as your website. They are not cost per click, they are cost per conversion, and unless that click converts the intended actions of the advertiser, you're not going to get paid. You're just not going to get paid for it. So I pretty much covered all bases regarding AdSense. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, like I said before, from a lot of the media and a lot of bloggers say, you know what, AdSense is dead. No, it's not dead. It is not dead at all. It is very much alive and well. Ad blockers, I don't think the situation is going to get much worse. We have seen some changes from IO's AdBlock Plus. They are launching a new ad network that they're working with to help whitelist, to help serve what are considered acceptable, ads that are deemed to be acceptable ads, to fall into their acceptable ads policy, to where they will not block them on your website. Okay, so the industry as a whole, the advertising industry, the ad blocking industry, and the publishers are working together right now to find ways to not destroy the typical publishers. So you have options there. That's another thing too. I would definitely go to IO's website, go and check out their new their new advertising network, and see if and apply for it if you're a publisher, and see if you can get your site whitelisted. The way that their new ad network is going to work is this: they will allow you to continue to serve your normal ads to normal users, and when ad blockers show up on your website, they will replace the ads that you have in place, let's say they're Adsense ads, with ads from their that match from their ad network that match their acceptable use policy, and the publishers get paid roughly 70%. They take 30%. Actually, their cut is more like 5 or 6% because they're also paying others involved to help build the ad network, plus the advertisers, etc. Okay, so there's others involved, but they're generally going to probably end up getting about 5 to 6% cut, which is not bad, being that they're doing all the legwork. So props to IO for changing their policies to help save publishers. I know the content creators work really, really hard. I'm one of them. I've been doing it for years. It's a lot of work. I can spend days and hours on end writing a single article. It takes years to build an audience on the web. It's a lot of work. We do deserve to be rewarded for that effort. So no, AdSense is not dead. Definitely do check out the article below. There's also a link if you have not checked out Strategic Social Networking's community on Google+. Definitely check out the community and join, follow us, like and subscribe to stay up to date with our current videos. And many thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.